What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you to either hello and welcome if you're brand new to San Diego Prep Insider. I'm Christian Pedersen, joined by my co-host this summer, Colton Toll. You may, if you are not new to this show, you may recognize Colton. He was here last year with us. We met you as what, a sophomore on the grind?
Yeah, I was a sophomore that year.
Just a baby. Wearing number 69 and coming through like a Mack truck at left guard. So not just a baby. This summer, Colton and I are going to be making our way through all of the different football positions and just talking about like what we're looking forward to this coming season. And as with all of this stuff, I throw out the massive disclaimer. We are not the end all be all of like who is good in this sport. We apologize if we get names wrong. Like doing high school sports is not the same as doing the NFL. Like you do not have the depth of coverage. You sometimes don't know that a kid is transferred or left the freaking state or something like that until the roster comes out in fall. Or if you look at Andrew Westling's roster at Mount Carmel, there's 640 kids on it every season. So look, Colton and I are going to take under 10 minutes every week, talk about a different position just as a hype thing, because we like talking about high school sports, and we get though that we're a bit away from the season. So take this as you will. We look forward to your vigorously angry comments on social media for forgetting somebody here and there. I'll just start right in. I think that I've always kind of said this. We are good at football. Our elite talent, like Chris Olave, Reggie, like we have that, but we're not necessarily like stacked in a way that you look across the county and you're like, oh man, those three schools, those two guys got dudes. I feel like just a little bit right now, Colton, and stop me if I'm wrong, we might actually have a deep year of quarterbacks.
No, I was looking at it. Last year, the top 5 passing leaders in the county were all juniors, and the sophomore obviously being Julian Sayin. No seniors were top 5 in the county. I mean, this year you got to expect that they're just going to absolutely explode. It's going to be insane.
So you mentioned Julian Sayin. He has, there is attention, and then there is Nike Elite 11 like 5-star recruit attention, and he has shipped up. Not shitted. He's not rocket shitted. He's rocket shipped up. We saw him in the finals last year take Carlsbad all the way against Cathedral Catholic. Is that going to be the chip on his shoulder that propels him to even another level? Like, what do you see coming this year? Because last year almost 3,000 yards, and
34 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. You got to figure though, going into that Cathedral game, Carlsbad was 16-0 in their last 16. Obviously, going 5-0 in the shortened season with his brother Aiden at quarterback. He comes in, takes over the position, goes 11-0 in the season, and then they kind of just get trounced in the finals by a good Cathedral team. And with someone of his caliber, you got to expect that that's going to be a huge chip on his shoulder going into the season, because Carlsbad's been a good program the last few years. You got to expect they got to win the big game at least once.
Yeah, Coach Mack has had somehow Carlsbad sneaky reliably good.
Always.
And I know that there's been like Asa Turner and some dudes who are like, oh yeah, they're going places. But if you look who's blocking for Sayin, is this Sayin number 3? Is this the third of the Sayin brothers?
Was there one before Aiden?
I think there might have been. We'll have Bodie look that up once we get back to after the football season. But when we got to that championship game last year, it wasn't a lack of him performing. It was just Lucky Sutton.
Yeah, well, Lucky Sutton was the best player in town.
Yeah, it was physically dragging people. So you're slating this over 3,000 yards. You're gonna go up in touchdowns. Also, do you think he can break 40?
Well, they're going to be in the open. They're not going to have that many playoff games, so it's going to be weird.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I won't put you on the spot for that. I will put that on the poll at SD Prep.
We should do over under 38.5.
I think that's technically gambling and might get us a tad bit in trouble, but I don't know the rules anymore. But yes, anybody that wants good odds on high school sports gambling, you could always hit Colton, Tommy. Other guys that we saw in that top 5, just looking at passing yards, Jax Leatherwood, almost got to 4,000 passing yards.
So close.
And here's what's confusing to me about Jax. He didn't seem like he was particularly like gunning it deep down the field. Like it wasn't like he was hitting 40-yard seam routes on every single like drive. It was just his reliability on the underneath routes. I will be curious. They had a lot of seniors.
Yeah.
And we kind of maybe saw that with the team that they beat in the finals, where La Jolla with their team was maybe that, you know, their quarterback was 1 year past like the primary group that got him so much success. And I will be curious. I don't think that there is any reason to think that Jax will fall off the face of the earth, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see if you can, I mean, back-to-back 3,500 plus season would be, that's video game numbers.
No, it's insane. His number one graduated, right? Connor Lawler, is that his name? He
Yes.
graduated, right?
Yes. So
that's a big thing.
Jax lost a little bit of his
it's like a safety blanket.
Lost a little bit of his safety blanket. If you're looking at the schedule, though, they got La Jolla, Mira Mesa, Saints, Lincoln. No, never mind. Effing Max Preps.
They messed up.
No, they only have 6 games.
I know.
Go on to Scorebook Live. Okay, so we're talking about Jax though, and he is somebody that like, are we talking 1-2, Sayin and Leatherwood, or is there another one in the conversation right now that or is everybody else? No offense again, but is everyone else one tier below?
I think you got to throw Dominic Mankill into that conversation.
Hey, the modern day Catholic quarterback from last year, 3,400 yards,
38 touchdowns. They ran through basically everyone they played. I mean, that's a prolific offense with guys going D1 all around him. I mean, it's hard to not put him in that conversation when the numbers in the state championship under his belt. He's definitely up there with them. He does what he needs to do to get the job done. I don't think he's nearly at Saints level, but I think he does what he needs to do, and he does it at an elite level.
Okay, I like that. He does it. He just doesn't need to do it at an elite level because he's just got the weapon.
Yeah, he has so many playmakers out there. He has an amazing offensive coordinator, and he lives up to it. He's not disappointing, which is exactly what you expect from a guy from his caliber. I mean, 3,400 yards is nothing to scoff at. They run the ball like crazy. They have a good O-lineman. He's going to put up prolific numbers again. They're bringing back so many players.
Like it never ends. It literally, modern day has found a great pipeline of talent to show up there. I'll throw this out there. Garrett Bass from La Jolla Country Day is he's sneaky up there. And Country Day every year gets that schedule where you struggle sometimes to figure out, hey, like they blew the doors off of that team. They were close on that. It's hard to gauge, but every single year they got numbers.
That's what I feel like every year Country Day is producing a 3,000 yard passer. Seriously. It seems like every year they always do it.
I'll be curious who you think takes over at Lincoln.
Because I always saw clips from the SDSU camp. They have that the underclassmen throwing because they just got what's his name, Johnny Lehman from Eastlake, but they got this other kid passing too.
So they lose Jalen Daniels, who graduates last year, takes them to within. I mean, he took them to within a play. Like they were one play away, and Christian Washington and Coach O just had different plans. But that was a team that every year they've been in it, they seem to reload like absolute pros.
Yeah, we talked about modern day being a pipeline. I mean, Lincoln's been doing it, if not longer.
The one I'm going to be really interested in, because we saw him transfer last year to University City, is Garrett Cooper. Or not, Samuel Cooper, the fourth.
The best thing about Cooper is his running game.
But he wants to be a pocket passer, from my understanding. And it's something that he has shown flashes with the arm. And, 2,300 yards last year, a 62% completion percentage, only 8 touchdowns. But like you said, running is his game. And I will be curious, as senior year comes up, you start to get players who they need to make their decision on what their game style is and how they're going to try and go about getting recruited. And does he lean into really airing it out this year, or does he try to, hey, I can win if I run?
That's going to be tough to say. That's going to become a decision from him and his coach, because, I mean, he put up 1,200 rushing yards last year. I mean, he can run the ball better than just about any quarterback in the county. But if that's something he wants to do, is be a pocket passer, and his coach supports it. That's something we could see. But I think what's all said and done, and it comes down to winning games, which is what it's all about, is winning games. I think we'll see him go back to his rushing tendencies.
Okay, fair enough. I'm looking now at the losses. People that like Lincoln need to find a new quarterback. I will be curious, and I'll rattle off a couple of schools. You tell me if anything really piques your interest. Santa Fe Christian loses Grupner to graduation. He was an absolute sort of option QB nightmare for people last year. Jackson Stratton moves on from La Jolla. Trenton Giles at Grossmont moves on. Kai Reed from El Camino graduates.
Yoakum from El Cap graduated.
Davion Yoakley. Charlie Meyer graduated from Cathedral. Is there any team that you are still circling out of that group or larger that you're like, hey, we need to have an answer for this one? Because I don't have a clear answer right now. I'm looking at this team. They can have a great season if we can get the quarterback dialed in.
I think after the year Yoakley has, you got to figure El Cap is kind of going into panic mode trying to replace those numbers, because I mean that was an insane year he had, and it's like it's going to be hard to live up to that. I mean they produce a lot of offensive talent there. I'm sure they'll find someone, but it's going to be hard to reproduce those type of numbers.
You said you watched the passing tournament at SDSU.
Yeah,
or at least some of the clips of it that were online. Anybody surprise you? Anybody be like, damn?
No one off the top of my. I was really shocked to see Lincoln not having like Lehman not there as much. That was strange to me.
Lincoln is impossible. You will learn that Lincoln is impossible to judge based off of.
We saw it with Cooper. Didn't Cooper like get his first reps in a playoff game his sophomore year with them? There was like something just out of nowhere.
I'm just saying their correlation between 7-on-7 and the regular season, because they are always the best at 7-on-7, bar none. And sometimes they're still the best at the actual football, but it looks different because you got to run the ball. You don't have guys just rolling out throwing 110 touchdowns the way they do in the offseason there. Colton, it seems like we're kind of at the mid-tier of the teams that we're looking at. So I don't want to bore people by just doing list radio. I'll say everyone can follow Colton at Pro Colton Toll on Twitter. We'll be back next week with running backs, maybe?
Running backs.
But yeah, seriously, consider this the starting of the conversation. We want to hear from you guys. Who are some quarterbacks that we need to go check out? Who are some teams that we thoroughly disrespected? We yada, yada. We know, we try. Colton Toll and I will be back next week, and thanks for tuning in, sports fans.